As promised, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Beci Mahnken.
Hi.
She had to come from like over the hills and through the woods to be here.
I did. Oh yes, absolutely. It's so great to be here finally after all this time.
You are hard to get a hold of.
This is my first appearance with.
Yes. You are not just a Disney fan. You're kind of like a world traveler.
Yeah.
And we call you Queen. We call her Queen Beci.
Oh,
and
no.
it's a good thing. We do. We do. You say no,
so
but you
cute.
just took the crown off. It's over here.
Oh, jeez. Well, okay. Make sure you polish up in the box. Just totally kidding.
Okay, so let's see. How do we start with you? Oh my God. Okay, you also own. We're gonna just say you also own MouseFanTravel, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
First and foremost, you did mention something to me about Dad.
Oh.
Did that start your love of Disney?
Yes.
Give me a little.
My father is my hero, and unfortunately, he's.
And I didn't know this till 2 minutes ago.
He's since passed, but he has given me this love for magic. And it all started when I was a little girl. Several things throughout my life, he kind of gave me these gifts that would create the person that I am today. And it's all thanks to him. But he took me to Disneyland on my 7th birthday. And I remember very distinctly being with him on the Sky Buckets and riding the Matterhorn with him. And this is what he did, because he was not so sure how I would react to the Haunted Mansion. So do you remember the albums, like the picture albums with the records, with the vinyl?
Yeah.
When we used to have those things that played records, those disc thingies?
Yes.
So he bought me about like the Country Bears and the Haunted Mansion album and Small World. And so
Before you went?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was familiar with the rides so that when we got to the Haunted Mansion, I wouldn't be scared.
Do you remember having any apprehension to the Haunted Mansion, or absolutely not? You were just
none.
Wow,
I was ready for a magical time at Disneyland for my 7th birthday.
Okay.
And then I didn't go back until my 21st birthday.
I don't know if you've ever heard my story. There's a whole thing like that. I went when I was 5 and not until I was 16.
Yeah, I was 7 and then 21. I
believe that time in between keeps you the magic good and anticipatory, and you love it, and that when you do finally get it, you never take it for granted. I think.
I know, and it was an amazing thing because Disney became part of my life, much like a lot of people that I talk to from the wonderful world of Disney on Sunday nights. And that shows my age a little bit, but that's, I connected to Uncle Walt in that way. So that became the 7th birthday thing for my dad because he knew I connected in that fashion. So my 21st birthday, I actually played a gig in Lompoc, California, and we had the next week off. So I got in my car after we broke down and I went to Disneyland. I parked about where the ticket booths are now, slept in my car, and on my 21st birthday, I was at the opening gates of Disneyland.
Okay, wait, you just said played a gig.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
In a former life, I was a light technician and pyrotechnician for rock bands on the road. So,
name drop.
No, I will not.
Okay.
I can't do that. But there were several. Put it this way. This was the late 80s, early 90s. So imagine the types of bands that needed a lot of production, like big lights and big pyrotechnics. Some of them I worked for.
Very cool.
So that's kind of how, I worked my way into my 21st love. Yeah.
Going back to 7-year-old you.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you left Disneyland? Where did you live?
At that time, I lived in Tri-Cities, Washington.
Okay, so you knew you can't just go to Disneyland.
Yeah, this is not something that's...
Did you ask Dad constantly, when can we go again? Was it something you obsessed about a little bit?
Not really. Did
you read the books or the Birnbaum guys? Did you constantly feed that?
Not from a travel perspective. It was more along the lines of my family was not something that we did, was running to Disney like a lot of people did. My father did things like picked a state for our vacations, and he would take me, well, it was during the summer, so we would pick Oregon, and we would discover the history of Oregon by a car. So you would drive the entire state and stop in places like Crater Lake and the Vortex, if you've ever been there. There are ghost towns everywhere, so we would do a state
it just seems like
every year.
A good idea that people should be doing today.
Yeah. History, because he wanted to instill my love of history, and he did that as well. So we didn't go to Disney, but I always had that. I don't know what it did to me as a child, but to walk into this place where I could be a child and enjoy it, but so could my father.
Yeah. Did you see a change in Dad when you were at Disneyland?
Yes. And I still can picture him, and it gets to me because now, obviously, because I go to Disney so much, and I'm very blessed to do that. When I walk into the gates, I feel him. And he's there with me.
Do you feel him in Disney World or just Disney?
No, I feel him at World as well.
Okay.
But the funny thing is about World is that became the place that my husband and I really came together too, because that's where I first told my husband I loved him for the first time was in Disney World. And we have a Hakuna Matata on the inside of our wedding rings. So
that's cool. Do you?
Yeah. So all through my life, there's just been this constant string of this love of Disney and its movies and the attractions and the parks and the music and the magic that it creates for families.
Okay, so we both have a mutual friend in common, and I say friend.
How many? We have a few, don't we?
There's one that I say loosely as a friend, Lou Mangello.
Oh no,
you've worked with Lou for a while.
Yeah, I have. I've been very lucky to have a lot of great partners such as yourself and Lou.
Thank you. But you and Lou, not that we're not tight, we are. But Lou, there's times where I see you like on a cruise ship cabin or something, and you fight like brother and sister, and it is funny.
It's an interesting relationship that we have.
Do you ever want to just choke them?
Yes.
Okay.
Clearly. But I think it goes both ways in a lot of ways. But it's a very unique relationship. And I've been very blessed to have what I consider a little brother, which I'm an only child. So this is apparently God saying, you wanted this. Here, have it now that you're in your whatever age you are.
He definitely is like a little brother.
Yeah. But we gel very well. And we have a lot of the same business ethics that you have to have when you're partnering two businesses together, and we have a lot of fun. And
I do know that he loves you too. I do.
You know what? You prove it.
I can. I have videos and things to prove it.
Oh.
Your favorite park?
Oh.
That's hard. I know. It's a hard question.
It depends on what your favorite park for what.
In general, you had to pick one. They're closing 3.
All right. All right, I'm gonna look worldwide though, because now I think my favorite park, if you said you could go anywhere tomorrow, it would be Tokyo.
Disney Sea.
It would be Disney Sea. Because what they did there, because it's not wholly owned by Disney, it's all owned by a third-party company.
She books trips to Disney Sea. We'll get into that.
By the way, how do I put this? The best way to put it is that it's like Imagineers went wild with story but didn't have a budget.
I think that's like what the Imagineering story on Disney Plus does kind of.
Does it?
It's exactly what you just said.
I haven't seen it yet. So
they do say something like that about the budget was like all the rule books were thrown out.
Yeah, and it shows, because when the first time we were there, tried not to. And this is what I try to do when it's something new again, because when we go to Disneyland or Disney World so often, you it's not that you lose the magic, you just don't have that sense of wonderment. Yeah. And so I tried not to look at anything online. I tried not to read any guides. I tried not to know what I was doing, so I could just walk in and experience it from a first-timer's eyes. So for the first day that we were in Disney Sea, I think we rode maybe 3 things.
It's nice also not to know where anything is.
Yes.
Like if you go to a Magic Kingdom park, you kind of know where things go. You didn't know anything about things.
Didn't know a thing, except I knew how to get back to my hotel. That's pretty much all I knew.
How was the food?
It was fantastic.
Was it Japanese food or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. There's a lot of different aspects to visiting in Tokyo Disney. And you can get traditional Japanese food if you want, but you can also, they of course have some Western selections as well, but there's also the churro carts and the popcorn carts, which there's so many popcorn carts and so many different types of popcorn, like hot chocolate popcorn, curry popcorn. There's one that I call spaghetti popcorn, but I think it's like pesto something. So every cart has.
We have nice things?
I know, and then they have buckets that actually go to sometimes the theming of the of the popcorn.
I saw you posted. Which we gotta get into. You post a lot of cool things.
Thank you.
The alien dumplings, the 3 aliens.
Yes, they're not dumplings.
What are they?
They're mochi.
What's that?
Clearly, I've had a lot of mochi. It is one of my favorite desserts in the world.
It's a dessert?
Yes, and it's filled with like custard. So there's 3 little aliens in the container, and one's chocolate, one's strawberry, and one's vanilla. And it is by far, bring mochi. If anybody's listening from Disney, bring mochi here because it's one of my favorite
I'm going to show
things.
these, as I say these
Awesome.
pictures, I forgot I could get them from your Facebook.
Yeah.
On Facebook,
Yeah.
you have a new thing called Adventures with Becky?
Yes.
Or Becky Adventures?
No, Adventures with Becky. Yeah, it's because my company
Really?
has a different account, but I also travel a lot, and I wanted to bring a different side to followers that weren't just coming from a sales messagey point of view. I wanted to kind of do some experiential sharing of where I am and what I do without having to worry about being the company voice as well. So I've been doing that under my account, which is facebook.com/Beci Mahnken, but it's a personal account, and then I don't get any stats or see how many people are out there and you know how important it is now to a lot of the companies that we work with. They're looking at how many likes you get and how many people engage and how many people talk.
Meanwhile,
So,
the media things are trying to get rid of it. Like Instagram's saying now you can't see it.
I know, and I personally don't care either way because I really enjoy if there's
You would do it
5
anyway,
people.
right? You would do it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's 5 or 5,000, I just when you're out there and you're traveling a lot. Let me go down this rabbit hole.
That you travel too much, but you do travel a lot.
I do travel a lot.
You're always on a cruise. I don't even know if you have a home.
I have a home, thankfully, and a husband that does recognize me at the airport. So this is really good. That's good news. But for me, when I'm out there by myself, I have a couple of business philosophies. And the first one is that, yeah, technology, you can pick up a phone, or you can get on FaceTime, or you can have conversations via text. But there's nothing like sitting down face to face with somebody to try to come together and accomplish magical things.
Whenever I've traveled alone,
Yeah.
I find that I'm always thinking about, I'd love to be here with this person. I'd love to be with this person. For your business, you do travel alone a lot. Do you find that you're always... Are you trying to do that, or are you in the moment enjoying it for you?
Well, a lot of what I do isn't as quote-unquote sexy as it sounds.
Right. It'll look more glamorous on paper.
Yeah, because that's my job. My job is to make places that I go look like a place you want to go to. But in reality, I'll come to Walt Disney World and I'll be in a boardroom sitting with a whole bunch of people talking about events that I'm going to do 2 years from now. So while I might post a couple things from the park, it doesn't mean I'm in the park all day, sadly.
Speaking of events, I'm not just blowing smoke. She holds the best events. If people wanted to be involved with your events, will you put it on Adventures with Becky?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Anything that we do. And for anybody who wants to do events, that's my specialty. That's my personal specialty.
Give me some samples of events you've done so people who don't know what I'm talking about.
Sure. There's 3 that I like to point out. One of them is a standard dessert party. You know, you can have a family of 10 or more people that just want to have a dessert party to watch. Right now it's Epcot kind of forever. Or yeah, and some of the other locations that have fireworks or shows have these locations that we can do dessert parties at. So that's a basic 101 thing. But I've done things like worked with a partner and created, for those who are really Disney history nerds, there was a thing in Disneyland called the Tahitian Terrace restaurant. And it was a Polynesian-themed show, and it was a huge thing, which went away in the late 80s, I believe. And one of my partners decided that they wanted to revisit that history. So I worked very closely with DEG, with Disney Entertainment Group, and over about a 2-year period, we recreated the Tahitian Terrace in its original spot. And when here come the waterworks, when the show was on, and we had, you know, they didn't do flamethrowers. I got the phone call saying, "I'm sorry, we can recreate the show, but we can't do the flames anymore. But we could do knives." And I'm like, "Sure, knives, okay."
We have Jack. He doesn't know how to do the flames, but he could try.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Yeah.
So it's fire codes now, current fire codes. So at one moment, the show just stopped, and the guy on the stage goes, "I don't know who put this together, but whoever it was, I want to say thank you. Because what they don't know is it was my father who was the original band leader for the show on this stage, and I am standing in his shoes."
Oh my God. Do you have that on video?
We do somewhere, but not a dry eye in the house.
Wow.
So
the performers loved it as much as the... Oh,
absolutely.
That's awesome.
So we created there was a menu that was, you would select a plate, but we had some of the original chefs, or not the original, the chefs go back to the original menu and create a buffet from the original menu.
That's awesome.
So
it's not just the show.
No.
That's great. It's the location, the food.
Yeah,
that's really nice.
So we want to create those.
How long ago was this?
This was about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Please forgive me if I'm wrong. It all like comes together now. We've also done things with WDW Radio quite often. They like their special events, so we do a lot of stuff there. And one of them was be the first people to check into the Hollywood Tower Hotel.
I remember that one.
So we create a story around it, and we bring you into that story, and give you locations that maybe you might not be able to sit and have dinner in a typical time. So there's a lot of those that I do, and I've got 5 or 6 things up in the air right now for events that we're working on.
Okay, so you got to follow Adventures with Becky. I will put a link up here.
Yeah, and that obviously some of those don't go on my page if I'm working with a client.
Right.
But when I'm there, I'm certainly going to post about it. So.
But sometimes you have things that are just open to just about every fan that could fit in.
Absolutely.
And they can also make their own if they want. If somebody had a family of 10 that wanted a dessert party, you could do that for them.
If they had a family of 10, if you can dream it and pay for it, you can do it. That is.
Speaking of old magic, we just went through what I think is probably a very magical thing.
I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it.
Rise of the Resistance opened at Hollywood Studios, and like a movie that you take away, I still am processing the whole. I can't believe someone built it. I can't believe it was greenlit.
The best dark ride and the best simulator ride and the best storytelling, all into one massive show building. I went into it with this high bar of expectations, because when you talk to people from Disney, Imagineers, friends, people who are in there, they would say, yes, this Galaxy's Edge is amazing, and you're going to love the ride that's there now, but just wait. And so when you get that energy from them that are like, this is awesome, and please know that you have to be here to experience this, but just wait at what's coming. And you don't see that very often. You don't see that type of exuberance. Well, you do now from everything that's coming.
Can they live up to that? You know, because they were hyping it up.
Yeah, and I think this is the first one that really lived up to the hype.
It did, completely. It really did.
Yeah, it was great.
And it's not, you know, too, if we just went on the ride, because we all say ride. If we went on just the ride, it was great. But there's a whole experience leading up to it.
Yeah.
That is an attraction in itself.
See, this is what I was saying yesterday when people were asking me what I was thinking. You know, when you do go on attractions, there's usually one place where the oxygen comes out of the room because everyone's like, oh, there'll be a reveal. Right. This one has multiple reveals, and everyone that comes along is just like, when you think the ride is going to end because that was the cool reveal, all of a sudden there's something else. It's
they kept giving you e-ticket pieces.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
And still, after it's all together, you just land with that. What? Okay. There was a time where, for just a moment, not even a joke, I was like, "We did go off the planet? No, stop it!" Like, I had to process it all.
It took me several times, and the first time, I don't think my jaw closed. I don't want to give any spoilers, but there's a point where you almost like parallel park, and you're like, what? Okay. I need to do that again.
I'm going to give one thing because I just want to know if she noticed it. I don't really think it's a spoiler too much. It might be a little one. There's a part where there are people talking to you, and they are not there. It's a projection, but it looks great. But did you notice the added projection of a shadow?
Oh, yes. Yes.
A fake person does not cast a shadow.
No.
These fake people seemed so real because they were casting shadows, which was a whole separate Imagineering thing that I just went, wow.
That level of detail from the visual was stunning. And the first time I went through, I didn't try to take a picture. I didn't try to do anything. I just tried to take it all in. And the second time I was like, all right, I need to look and see if I can, deconstruct part of this. And
I always do that. I still can't. Some of this I can't.
There's a portion where you are in a location and there's an animatronic in front of you, but yet there's also a screen so you can watch the front of the animatronic's face, but you're looking at the back of it. And that second time I'm going, let's see if this syncs up. The animatronic moved slightly, and so did the character.
It synced up perfectly.
It was stunning the way that they have gone through and picked every little detail like that.
I know.
You
can't go through the first time and film. People went the first time filming. I was like, no. You have to get it first, then decide if what you want to film and do like that.
See, before I forget, I know I'll say this later, or we'll talk. But as you go through this, and I want everybody to watch your videos.
No,
but
I agree with you on this.
But
if you can avoid them for this ride, I agree with that.
Try to avoid the ones that say spoilers. And if you're going to be here in the next few months or the next year or so, try to do this without seeing what everybody's showing.
I've written 4 people on Facebook saying, if you can avoid the video, don't watch it. Yeah. And I realize, what am I saying? That's my whole business. But
exactly.
I'm really that true. I really want you to experience it. Watch it when you get home as many times as you want. But,
if you're not going to be here for a few years, go ahead. But this one is definitely one of those you want to be surprised. You want to have that moment. You want to, and you're not going to have it if
I will say I did watch the video and still was like, there's nothing like being in the space, moving around. You're just there.
Yeah, you know what I liked the most was the trackless system, right?
Yes.
Because there's several attractions out there worldwide that have the trackless system, but in a track system, you can kind of look down and you can anticipate where you're going. In the trackless, you're like, I have no idea. Am I going to go backwards, frontwards, left or right? And it was so cool.
And it was a much bigger space than any other trackless, I think. Yeah. So we really didn't know where it was going to go and what it was going to do. And, it pays to note, there's 2 separate experiences in this ride. I wouldn't bother the cast members in asking for it, but there are 2 separate experiences.
And I was paying big attention to that because there were a couple of people who gave me the heads up and said, be sure to ask for blah. And I was like, okay, because sometimes it's a different experience. So asked for the other side after riding it the first time in the other. And it's a different experience. And then I had to go back and say, no, I want to do the other one now that I know what I'm looking for. Because as you're riding through, and it's an entire 360 experience, but you can tell that where they're trying to make you look, right, is what they want you to see. So the first time you ride it, you're looking where they want you to look. The second, third, and fourth time, you're trying to look at everything else. So when I rode that second set of colors for the second time, I saw things I never saw before.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
So both. Well, you'll probably hear, if you're reading things and hearing things, you'll probably hear that, yes, definitely ask for this. But I have a feeling, and what's really cool is the cast members, they're not going to let you ask for anything.
I also found the first one you experience is probably your favorite.
You think?
And that's just like, remember the Adventurers Club?
Yeah.
The first set of characters I saw, those were the ones that I believed were those characters, and every time somebody else tried to... So I think it's the same type of thing where what you see first is what you say is the...
Yeah, it's like Hamilton, right? The original cast is going to be the original cast. But for me, both of them have a lot of special things that go on, and you need to look in different places to make sure you see everything.
Yeah, so I can't see getting tired of Rise of the Resistance. No. We also got a sneak peek of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Yeah.
Now, I remember reading, they did post something about this. Yeah. So it's not a big secret. Can I say? Because they did post about it.
Did they?
Well, here's what they said.
From blog?
It was from the Disney blog. They said they would show you a movie in the Chinese theater, and you would be able to enter through the movie screen into a fantasy world. You're going to enter the cartoon. So they took us in and said, we're just going to show you a brand new Mickey and Minnie short, Perfect Picnic. Mm-hmm. And that's it. I totally forgot about that whole thing. And during the cartoon, you could say whatever. You can just describe what happens without giving anything away, really. What happens? The screen?
Yeah, well, okay, for me, this is a little sneak peek, and they're so good at this, and I love them and hate them at the same time for this.
Yeah, it was torture. Here, look, smell this decadent dessert. You can't have it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you walk in and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to see maybe a film about what they're doing behind that curtain over there, and all of a sudden you're watching this short, and bam, this effect occurs in front of you that sucks you right in and goes, oh my gosh, oh, I need to see more. And then they go, thank you for coming. And there's the exit. And we're just dying for more now.
I'll say that after the effect, there's a little sign that says 2 trains, that you're supposed to walk into the screen and go to the trains. But we couldn't. Don't do that to me.
That was so sad.
I'm going to the trains. No? What?
I know. I was so sad. But they did give us the opening day.
Oh, March 4th, 2020. That's quicker than I thought.
3 months away.
Yeah.
So now we know when, and they so masterful, because they've now given us the taste. It's not just going to be a
If I didn't
cartoon.
live here, I'd book a trip for March.
Oh, you kidding?
I would.
I live in Seattle. I went back after that and I booked my room so that I can be here for that experience, because that's another one where at first when it was announced, a couple of things hit me. It's like, okay, it's going to be a cutesy little ride.
Now I see some hints of greatness.
Yeah. Then you got when they said this is the first attraction or ride for Mickey. And I'm thinking, that can't be. How could that possibly be?
I guess, wasn't there Mickey in a band singing in Disneyland?
No, but a ride.
A ride, yeah.
That's true. Mickey has never had a ride.
That's
crazy.
So
when you kind of think about this, like, all these parks, all these experiences.
It's like finding out Pizza Hut never made pizza. Yeah. It's weird.
Or that they didn't put cheese on it. You know, what are you going to say? So that was really exciting. And then, of course, some of the people have been very excited, saying that there's some new technologies behind this. And we were going, okay, that's awesome. That's great. And then when we saw that little teeny tiny reveal, I can't wait to see what this.
My reaction was a little maybe over the top because
What did you do?
Noticed.
Did you squee?
I did. No, I went, oh my god!
Yeah, you squeed.
And they looked at me like, but it was genuine. I did not ham it up. I didn't even know what was going to happen. It was great. I was that child wonder, and I love when they give me that, because I'm older now and it's not coming as often as I'd like, this childlike wonder. So when they give it to me, I'm very happy.
Yeah.
And speaking about booking trips for March 4th, because we were talking, there are still a sect of people, and I'm not doing like an advertisement, that believe that using a travel agent, which let me say first off, you own MEI.
Yes.
So MEI-Travel is a big travel company that does all kinds of travel anywhere.
Yeah.
You could book a Royal Caribbean, a Norwegian cruise line, but MouseFanTravel.com is the Disney portion of that.
Right.
You have a high level of earmark from Disney, which is their stamp of approval on your travel agency. Some people still think that it costs more money to book with a travel agent.
Oh, and that's the thing that it's one of those pieces of information that people think that it's going to cost you more, that it's more difficult, that, you lose control of your
That was my thing all the time.
Yeah.
Is that if I book it, I have control to see it online. But that's not just the case.
Yeah, there's different aspects. So we work with people. If you're one of those people who has your Excel spreadsheet and you have your trip down to the minute of where you're going to be at each time, we work with you, because it's one of those where we say, okay, we will then book your trip, but we'll be the ones that watch. So if a new offer comes out, we'll automatically apply it so that you don't have to be on phone for 2 or 3 hours on hold waiting for that. We do it for you.
I am always reading someone on Facebook that says, thank you, Becky, or thank you to Denise, Barbara, Susie, whoever of your agents are, that I didn't even know that my trip went down and I got $200 back and I got a better room.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of little tips and tricks that we use, that we have access to information, and not just from Disney, but from the other suppliers we work as well. And just to give a little piece of the scale, we have about 100 agents nationwide. So we have people who specialize and love Disney. We have people who really specialize in Royal Caribbean. We have people who specialize in different areas. But the agent that you get is going to be the one that's going to know what you're asking for. But there are little things that we can access, because there are times when they may not be filling the deluxe hotels, but all the moderates are pretty much sold. So you may be asking for a moderate, assuming that a deluxe is going to be higher, when in fact revenue management may have come in to say, let's see if we can sell those rooms, and then you might find a deluxe hotel for a bargain. So there's little things that we can do.
There is no doubt that an experienced agent is going to be looking out for the client, because it's not just about that trip. They want repeat.
Yeah, absolutely. And for us, we treat it as if it's our own vacation, because we want you to come back. We want to have those long-term relations with our clients. And the other thing is very beneficial is we're your advocate. And I'm going to be very careful because, of course, Disney does make magical guest experiences.
They're not going to call you if the price goes down.
Yeah, they're not going to call you.
That's not their business.
But if something goes wrong, and unfortunately, in some vacations, things do tend to sometimes not go exactly as planned.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Exactly. And because of our relationship with those suppliers, with Disney, with Royal Caribbean, and so on, we can step in and help. And you don't have to be on the phone or be at the front desk yelling about something. You just call us, and we will make those contacts and fix whatever problem is there. Or the better one that always happens is when there's a storm, or when there's a snowstorm and your flights are canceled, and you've got enough to worry about if you need to get back to the airport, if you're trying to redo your flights, or if we're there for that. You can just make the call to us, and we can redo your hotel. We can help with the flights if you booked it in the package. So we're there to have your backs. It's important to us to make sure that the experience is as magical as it can be. And again, as hands-off or as hands-on as you want it.
The reviews speak for themselves. I see it all the time online, that you don't have to shoot your own horn. I see the people talking about each and every one of the agents and how they've handled it, and it's awesome. So that's nice. It's nice to also represent something where the people aren't yelling at me for. They're happy they're happy with what they're getting.
And that's the other thing too. If for some reason you're not, in all honesty, every company does have a situation now and then, but we're going to have the back of the agent who's going to have your back. So obviously the company stands behind what the service we provide as well. But the fee thing is a big deal, because there's a lot of confusion, because some people say we're fee-free. Other agencies will say, no, we have fees. An industry whole, because it depends on the agency. Some do.
I thought it was supposed to be that.
No. No. See, and this is what's really interesting about this industry, is that it's not regulated by any one body. So there are several different associations that agencies can be part of, but they don't have to. They're not required, and they're not required to show their licenses. I mean,
right.
Just a quick tangent there. There's a whole bunch of things you should be doing when you're picking your travel planner. It's like picking your dentist, your doctor, your lawyer, your accountant. You don't want to just say, oh, that one looks good, let me go ahead and give them my credit card.
Because they have a snazzy logo.
Correct. Or that they say they're earmarked, or they say that they're, all of these things. If they say they're a Disney specialist, or they're a Disney specialty agency, they're probably not, because according to Disney rules, we're not supposed to say that. Right. So, but going back to what you were saying, you want to make sure that they're licensed, and I'm actually going to do a write-up on this later on, so rather than sit and spend the time talking about it, I will share it out. For us, ours is fee-free. We make our money from the suppliers that we book, so we feel we're good with that. We don't need to nickel and dime our clients. If you cancel, obviously there'll be fees from the supplier, but not
those rules are up front on what the supplier's cancellation fees are.
When we book you and we take your deposit before we use your money or give it to anybody, which, by the way, we only take credit cards, not cash, because we want you to be protected. You have the full list of what the cancellation policies are. So we want to be upfront as possible. We want to make sure that you have as much comfort in that booking process and know that you're going to actually go on your vacation. But people will assume that their fees, or it's not through us again, but they'll also assume that the prices may be higher. But just know that sometimes we'll get always we'll get at least the price that is available through the supplier, but sometimes lower. And there's tricks about that, which I'm not going to tell you about.
In the very near future, I will probably have some shirts with Panda on, Panda shirt, the same one that I wear in the park, the nice Hanes beefy tee. They're not like these cheap little thin shirts. I won't wear those. If you've used MouseFanTravel.com, I want to know about it in the comments. Anybody who puts a comment will be up for a shirt. It will be randomly picked. or if you do use MouseFanTravel.com for an upcoming trip, let me know about that. And that person will also be in the coming for sure. I want to get comments on it.
Yeah, that would be great. And if you want to name your agent, the agent you work with, because
that'd be cool.
I love doing shout outs to the team, because I couldn't do what I do without having a fabulous team behind me that takes care of people
a lot of
every
times
single
I
day.
don't know who it is, and I'll see Susan was this, and I'll read the whole story, and then later on I'll find out it's MouseFanTravel. So
one of the fun things we do is okay, they're gonna get mad at me when I say this, but when there's like an offer day, and
like free dining, and they're on the phone for 24 hours.
Yeah, well, that's like pizza day, where you call your husband, you say, "Honey, bring home pizza because we're going to be on the phones forever." I think the longest hold time one time was 6 hours for agents to get through. Yeah. So we all work in our home offices, and we have a chat thing that we can connect with each other. So we run contests of who can save their clients the most money, and obviously, if we're reducing your cost because we're on the phone and spending the time to do that, it also means less money for us in commission.
Right,
but guess what? We don't care, because it's not about that.
It's all about that relationship.
It's all about making sure we take care of you. So the contests are fun because
that's why you're successful.
It's a lot of fun. I love what I do.
Yeah,
and I love the people.
You literally do. Yeah, you're not just doing it.
And I love the people I work with. Again, my team is fantastic. I love each and every one of them, and I don't get enough time with them because they really are what drives me.
So let's go to, what is your most favorite new thing coming that you're looking forward to?
Okay. You're going to get me going on this.
Yeah.
So this is what I love.
And it can be big or small.
Yeah. This is what I love about this company, is that just a few years ago, they announced that this thing called, Galaxy's Edge was going to come to the parks. And we got all excited about that and thinking, well, all right, what could possibly be beyond that? And we were sitting in a presentation, and they were saying, okay, and here's this wonderful thing, Rise of Resistance, you're going to experience this tomorrow, but look ahead at what all's coming. So the moment that we've had this incredible build-up, there's now something new to look forward to, and there's so much.
What are you really looking forward to?
So many things. I think... Well, obviously, everything is coming for the anniversary, because Disney knows how to throw a party when it comes to... I know. Yeah. So I think they're going to pull all the stops for that. But
do we know when that's starting? We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
Okay, because it could start a month before. It could start on October 1st. Okay, we'll find out soon.
I think it's probably going to be that October 1st thing, because they normally do. But who knows? I have no clue what they're really doing, but I'm going to suspect that. What I think is... What I think is most intriguing is the Starliner.
That's exactly Star Cruiser.
Star Cruiser. Sorry,
I want to say Starliner all the time. No,
thank you.
I call it something different all the time.
I'm going to say the Star Wars
Halcyon. Isn't it the Halcyon?
I don't know anymore. There's no. The Star Wars Hotel. All right.
Their marketing with that has been weird, because I have a lot of people ask me, when people are on the ship, will I be able to look up and see it? So I don't know if we all understand what this is
exactly.
Going on.
What's neat about this is it's not just the experience I'm looking forward to. It's the fact that this could truly be a disruptor in the space.
Right. They've never done a land cruise before.
I know. Could you imagine? All right, so we explain what the situation is going to be, basically. You're going to pull up to a port, that much like a cruise ship port, where you're going to unload and you're going to board a transport that's going to take you to the ship.
It's supposed to be a convincing transport to the ship.
Yeah. And it's going to be a 2-day experience, or 2-night experience.
2-night experience.
3 days, 2 nights. And you're on board that ship. You're not going to be able to go, hey, tonight I think I'm bored. I'm going to go to Magic Kingdom. I don't think you're going to be able to get off the ship.
No. Well, you can take there is a... Okay.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. So there's only one stop or one port that the ship is going to land in. And, of course, that's Batu, which is such a fantastic idea. Now, who knows if it's going to be special access pre or post of the hours of the park? Because...
Oh, I don't know. That would be a good idea.
I know, but who knows? I mean, we're speculating at this point. But you're going to be on this ship, and there's activities on board. You're going to interact with the characters. You're going to kind of create your own character. This has some amazing potential.
They're careful to say it can be as interactive or as much relaxation as you want.
Just like a cruise ship.
Just like a cruise ship.
Yeah, because you can hide in your stateroom and drink coffee and do whatever you want to do in your cabin, or
and in the cabin. There's windows.
Yeah. Oh, there's windows.
And they all look out to space. And what's funny about that is, at first I thought, okay, are we going to notice this is a screen?
Yeah.
But when I've seen what they can do with Rise and stuff, the depth of field that I'm getting from these windows, no, I'm looking out into space. Did you see some of that?
See, and that's what got me excited about this the technology that's behind it, because seeing how they are pulling us into that story with space out that window is exactly the same story that we're going to have, except we won't be in a vehicle locked in taking us where we want to go. We'll be able to move our feet where we want to go. So that, I think, from an industry standpoint,
do we know if an agency can book that vacation? I would assume that's a
Not
vacation.
Yet.
But you're assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I have this sinking suspicion that will be something that will be booked out a long time in the future, because it's got a lot of interest behind it. So I have a feeling
it's a kind of a boutique-y thing.
Yeah, it's small.
They're saying, what, 68 rooms?
Something? I forget what the exact amount is right now.
Less than 100.
Oh, yeah. I think. But it's definitely going to be one of those things that any Star Wars fan is going to want to try in their experience. So, and what a perfect way to create that vacation where you go there for 2 nights. You have this immersive, and I know that word is so overused.
Yeah, we use it a lot, but it is everything.
But I
is
can't
getting
find
more
another
immersive.
word that actually fits what we're doing.
Rise of the Resistance was definitely immersive.
You were in the story. You were in the movie. If it was a movie, you were placed in it. You weren't a passive watcher of what was going on around you. You were participating in every single piece that was going on.
I loved when you'd go to escape and they would like shut a door and you'd turn around, and it felt, there was a moment there where I felt, maybe not fear, but I felt, what's going on? I can't leave.
Yeah, a couple of things that have already come up, and I feel free to stop me. But some people have been asking about if they're claustrophobic, will they be okay? And I'm claustrophobic, so
I found it very big and open. I didn't feel claustrophobic. Even if when they do put you in a tight space, it's quick. Yeah,
it's not something that you. And I'm that person that in a theater I have to be on the end. When we're in a big crowd of people, I have to be on the outside. I am, all right, admittedly very claustrophobic. So there was not one moment at all where I felt like, okay, I need to get out of here. I need to get out. So don't worry about claustrophobia. There's one point, like you said, there's one room, but it's very quick. And the way you exit is so worth being in that room. Just look forward to that. And the other one was, we hearing about the drop. A lot of people talking about that.
I didn't find it that, I loved it.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was frightening at all. It felt very smooth too, right? Nothing jarring.
No, I think it's if you. Some people are talking about it's kind of like Tower of Terror. Don't think that way, because it'll make you not experience this at all. It's if you had just the tiniest drop on the tower, it kind of feels like that, but it's teeny tiny. So don't let that.
If you had to compare it to the Disney World Pirates, maybe a little bit less than that. The little hill feels like that.
Yeah.
It would be a non-issue, I think, for most people to worry about that.
Yeah, don't let that stop you from having this amazing experience.
Yeah, please.
Oh, I'm so
Is there anything
appreciate.
I didn't talk about that you say we should talk about?
Well, I think just from a business perspective, I know that Disney is the big thing here, but a lot of people do go other places besides Disney.
Not me, but go ahead.
Yeah, I know.
That's true. I do. I would do sometimes. Maybe there's a Disney store there, and I'll go.
Okay, there's anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, I was just in Japan.
I do want to go to Japan.
Kyoto, amazing. Japan. There was actually a Disney store there. So yeah, we do all major cruise lines. We do if you want to do an all-inclusive, you want to do a sandals, you want to go to London for a week, we can do
Beaches, Turks,
any
and
of that.
Caicos was pretty cool.
Yes.
I'll admit that.
What
about Adventures by Disney?
No.
See?
That's one of
now
my
specialties.
specialties.
I can travel, do that.
ABD is one of my loves, and it is so amazing that I do those for my own vacations because I don't have to think. I'm a vacation planner that doesn't have to plan or think.
Otherwise you're working them for yourself.
Yeah.
It's like a baker.
Right.
Tonight he wants to bake something for himself. That makes perfect sense. I'm going to just put it out there. I went on Adventures by Disney, which was wonderful, to California, and I looked up and saw Walt's office. Yeah. And then I talked to her, and she says, well, we went in Walt's office. I'm like, oh, my Adventures by Disney didn't go there. And she's like, well, you didn't do it with me. And I kicked her in her... Took us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do remember, you're right, so you do modify
at that time.
things.
Oh, yeah, because they're created and curated very carefully by the company. I mean, they send people out, they test the suppliers, they test the itineraries for people who may not be huge Disney fans, but they do identify and like the brand and trust the brand. So they're creating these for the casual guest or the casual Disney fan. For a Disney fan, though, sometimes we want to modify it a little bit so that there's more Disney and a little less of just the overall arcing things. For example, we modified China. And for China, they do a lot of China, a little Disney, where you kind of go out to Shanghai or go out to Hong Kong Disney. We did a lot of Disney, a little China, where we actually stayed at Hong Kong, and then we flew to Beijing to do the wall.
I went for that.
And then we went to Shanghai and stayed at Shanghai Disney, which the real one doesn't. So we can be very creative with some of these trips. So if there's a group out there that is interested in modifying an itinerary, we're happy to help.
All right, so I can find you at Adventures with Becky.
Yes.
Is that the main part?
Yeah, actually, do this, because this will help you a little bit as you're pointing to it. Excellent. I'm on all the socials at Beci Mahnken, and it's spelled really weird. So it's
nobody else has that name. It looks very common to me.
I think my mother did that to me to make me actually talk to people when I was shy. I was a shy kid. That's a whole nother chapter of life.
I don't see that.
And the H, by the way, is silent. So if you're looking at the Mahnken up here,
we give it a little breathy Mahnken.
Yes, but if it's actually Mahnken. So if you just take out the H and just pretend it's not there, that's how you pronounce it. And I blame my husband for that, obviously. So I'm there on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and then of course on Facebook as well. There's also facebook.com/Adventures with Becky.
Okay, make sure you put those comments in for the shirts, and within a year, we'll have you back for an update.
Excellent. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It was great to be on, and thank you very much.